Black films makers and directors. Defining myself, as opposed to being defined by others, is one of the most difficult challenges I face. Carol Moseley Braun, politician and lawyer. Oscar Micheaux was the quintessential self-made man. Novelist, filmmaker and relentless self-promoter, Micheaux was born 1884, on a farm near Murfreesboro, Illinois. The Homesteader by Oscar Micheaux was the first full-length feature film written, produced and directed by an African American. It was also a commercial success when it grossed over $5,000. Micheaux published novels in Nebraska and New York and made movies in Chicago, Illinois and Los Angeles, California. Ava Marie DuVernay, /Ev DuVernay born August 24, 1972, is an American film director, producer, screenwriter, film marketer, and film distributor. At the 2012 Sundance Film Festival, DuVernay won the Best Director prize for her second feature film Middle of Nowhere, becoming the first African-American woman to win the award. For her work in Selma, 2014, DuVernay was the first black female director to be nominated for a Golden Globe Award. With Selma, she was also the first black female director to have her film nominated for the Academy Award for Best Picture. In 2017, she was nominated for the Academy Award for Best Documentary Feature for her film 13th, 2016. Jordan Howarth Peele, born February 21, 1979, is an American actor, comedian, writer, producer, and director. He initially became known for starring in the Comedy Central sketch series Key and Peele and for his 5 seasons as a cast member on Matt TV. In 2014, he also had a recurring role in the first season of the FX anthology series Fargo. Peele had a career breakthrough in 2017 with his solo directorial debut, the horror film Get Out. For his work on the film, Peele received significant attention, as well as numerous accolades, including the Bingham Ray Breakthrough Director Award at the 2017 Gotham Independent Film Awards. The film also received 3 nominations at the 90th Academy Awards, including Best Picture and Best Director, Peele's first nominations in those categories. Robert Townsend, writer, producer, director, and actor, was born in Chicago, Illinois on February 6, 1957. In the late 1980s, Townsend decided to become a filmmaker and director. His first film, Eddie Murphy, Raw, appeared in 1987. Without any funding beyond his money, he co-wrote, directed, and starred in first film, Hollywood Shuffle. In the late 1980s, Townsend decided to become a filmmaker and director. His first film, Eddie Murphy, Raw, appeared in 1987. In 1991, directed and starred in The 5 Heartbeats, a powerful biographical drama based loosely on the lives of the rhythm and blues group, the Dells. Adam Moten, a multifaceted pioneer in the world of entertainment, was born in Weimar, Texas in 1901. Moten made her film debut as a widow, who sang the song My Forgotten Man, in the 1933 movie The Gold Diggers. In 1933, Moten performed at the White House at the invitation of President and Mrs. Franklin D. Roosevelt. She also appeared in productions of Sugar Hill and Lysistrata opposite acclaimed actor Lee Whitber. On October 14, 1889, Clarence Edouard Muse was born in Baltimore, Maryland. Clarence Muse toured the vaudeville circuit, composed songs, directed both theater and film, entertained as a minstrel performer, sang opera, wrote screenplays, and appeared in over 150 films. In 1914, Muse helped pioneer the Black theater movement by co-founding the Old Black Theater Troupe, the Lafayette Theater Stock Company. He frequently appeared with the Lincoln Players, another famous troupe from the Harlem Renaissance. Actor, director, and narrator Roscoe Lee Brown was born on May 2, 1925 in Woodbury, New Jersey. He performed dozens of film roles including Black Like Me, 1964, The Comedians, 1967, and Topaz, 1969. He starred in The Liberation of L.B. Jones 1970. In 1974, Brown played in one of his most memorable roles, the sleazy politician, Congressman Lincoln in Uptown Saturday Night. He was also a supporting actor in The Mambo Kings, 1992. William Miles. Miles was born in Harlem, New York on August 19, 1931. He was a self-taught documentary filmmaker who has produced several documentaries on the history of Black Americans. William Miles produced his first film, Men of Bronze, in 1977. It chronicled the achievements of the 369th Infantry Regiment during World War I. The film was the culmination of 12 years of research beginning in the 1960s. Miles interviewed several surviving members of the historic all-black regiment popularly known as the Harlem Fighters. Deborah Kaye Allen, born January 16, 1950, is an American actress, dancer, choreographer, television director, television producer, and a member of the President's Committee on the Arts and Humanities. She is perhaps best known for her work on the 1982 musical drama television series Fame, where she portrayed dance teacher Lydia Grant, and served as the series' principal choreographer. She currently portrays Catherine Avery on Grey's Anatomy. James Edwards. One of the first African-American actors to receive critical acclaim, James Edwards was born in Muncie, Indiana in 1918. While enrolled at Northwestern, he participated in student productions and eventually made his mark on the New York stage when he assumed the role of the war hero in the touring play Deep Are the Roots. The same year, producer Stanley Kramer recruited Edwards to appear as the leading man in Home of the Brave, 1949. Hollywood's first post-war movie with racial prejudice as a central theme. His final film, Patton, 1970, opposite George C. Scott. Francine Everett, born in 1915 in Lewisburg, North Carolina, although never given accolades parallel to her contemporaries in mainstream films. Francine Everett's unyielding determination to epitomize African-American women in a quintessential fashion defines her importance in Black film nostalgia. By the mid-1940s, Everett was appearing as the leading lady in a number of race movies, including Big Timers and Tall, Tan, and Terrific. In 1946 she starred in Dirty Gertie from Harlem USA. Race films, made by independent African-American filmmakers. Lorenzo Tucker became African-America's leading man. Tucker was born in Philadelphia in 1907, in an era when both movies and audiences were segregated. Lorenzo Tucker became African-America's leading man. Lorenzo Tucker studied photography in trade school and briefly attended Temple University, where he appeared in plays. He went on to work as a straight man in minstrel shows with blues singer Bessie Smith and actor, comedian Stephen Fetchit, Lincoln Theodore Monroe Andrew Barry. In the early 1960s, he founded the racially integrated Negro Drama Players, a group that toured the South with black versions of Broadway shows. In the mid-1970s, Lorenzo Tucker relocated to Los Angeles in an attempt to revive his film career. Having little success, he began a career in photography, becoming active in preserving the history of Black film. Zeinabu Irene Davis, born in Philadelphia, is an African-American filmmaker and professor of the Department of Communication at the University of California, San Diego. Her works in film include narrative, documentary and experimental film. Juan Hernandez was born 1890. Juan G. Hernandez in San Juan, Puerto Rico, to a Puerto Rican seaman and African-American mother. In 1927, he made his Broadway debut in the stage production of Showboat, followed by roles in Strange Fruit and Set My People Free. By the early 1930s, Hernandez embarked on his film career, appearing in independent Black filmmaker Oscar Micheaux's race movies The Girl from Chicago, 1932, Lying Lips, 1939, and The Notorious Eleanor Lee, 1939. In 1949, Hernandez accepted the Hollywood film role of Lucas Beecham in William Faulkner's Intruder in the Dust, becoming one of the first black actors to obtain a leading role parallel to his white counterparts. Ayoka Chenzira, born 1953, is an independent African-American producer, director, animator, writer, and experimental film and transmedia storyteller. She is the first African-American woman animator and one of a handful of black experimental filmmakers working since the late 1970s. She has earned international acclaim for her experimental, documentary, animation, and cross-genre productions. Her work, as well as her efforts as one of the first African-American woman film educator, have led some in the press to describe her as a media activist for social justice and challenging representations of African-American stereotypes in the mainstream media. Utzon Palc is a film director, writer and producer from Martinique, French West Indies. She is notable for being the first black woman director produced by a major Hollywood studio, MGM, for a dry white season, 1989. As well as being the only woman filmmaker to have directed Marlon Brando, whom she brought back to the screen after a gap of 9 years. Palc is the first black director, male or female, to direct an actor to an Oscar nomination and the first black director to win the César Award, the highest French film award. She is also the first black director to win a Venice Film Festival Award, Silver Lion. Actress Teresa Harris, born in 1911, in Houston, Texas, although routinely donned an apron and head wrap, Harris refused to comply with the mammy stereotype and parlayed her dignified style in a plethora of Hollywood's most classic films. Under RKO, Harris later graduated to glamorous film roles, semi-frequently showcasing her vocal abilities in solo segments. Harris also broke barriers by serving as a member of the Screen Actors Guild, SAG, where she lobbied for dignified roles for African-American actors. In 1974, Harris was inducted into the Black Filmmakers Hall of Fame. Filmmaker Julie Dash was born on October 22, 1952 in Queens, New York. In 1985, she earned her MFA in film and television production at UCLA. She also directed the CBS television movie, The Rosa Parks Story, featuring Angela Bassett. The film received several awards, including the NAACP Image Award, the Family Television Award, and the New York Christopher Award. She frequently lectures on film at universities. Sidney Poitier. Poitier has directed a number of films, including A Piece of the Action, Uptown Saturday Night, Let's Do It Again, with Bill Cosby, Stir Crazy, starring Richard Pryor and Gene Wilder, and Ghost Dad, also with Cosby. In 2002, 38 years after receiving the Best Actor award, Poitier was chosen by the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences to receive an Academy Honorary Award, in recognition of his remarkable accomplishments as an artist and as a human being. Darnell Martin, born January 7, 1964, is a television and film director, screenwriter, and film producer. In 1992, Martin's short film, Suspect, which examined the treatment of young black people as assumed criminals, won critical acclaim at the New York Public Theater's Young Black Cinema Showcase. After directing her first short film, Suspect, Martin served as assistant camera operator for Jonathan Demme's documentary Cousin Bobby, a film about his cousin Robert Castle, an Episcopal pastor who works in Harlem. The film was well received from the majority of critics. In 2001, Martin directed Prison Song. She has directed episodes of TV shows like Law and Order and Grey's Anatomy. Elizabeth LaShira White, died 1993, was an American independent film producer and founder of the Shearer Summer Theater in Martha's Vineyard. She is known for her stage production of Shakespeare's Othello with an all-black cast, which she eventually filmed and released as a movie in 1980 at Howard University. White worked as an actress and dresser on Broadway before eventually returning to Oak Bluffs, where she grew up. There, She formed one of the first summer theater groups on the island featuring the African American residents and vacationers of Oak Bluffs. Originally named Milton Merkin Cade at birth, Toni Cade Bambara was a civil rights activist, writer, teacher, and filmmaker. She was born in 1939 in Harlem, New York. Along with her own work, Bambara edited a collection of short stories, poems and articles titled The Black Women, 1970, and Tales and Stories for Black Folks, 1971. Camille J. Billups, artist, filmmaker, archivist, and professor, was born on August 12, 1933, in Los Angeles. Billups is best known as a filmmaker. She has directed several films, producing all with her husband through their company, Mom and Pop's Productions. Their best-known films include Suzanne, 1982, which chronicled the life of a survivor of domestic abuse, Older Women and Love, 1987, which explored intergenerational relations, Finding Krista, 1991, which documents Billups's reunion with her daughter and explored intergenerational relations, and A String of Pearls, 2002. WHCH examined the struggles of men in her family traversing 4 generations. Finding Krista received the Grand Jury Prize at the 1992 Sundance Film Festival. Shelton Jackson Spike Lee, producer, actor, director, was born on March 20, 1957, in Atlanta, Georgia. Lee family moved to Brooklyn when he was a child and began making amateur films by the age of 20. His first film, Last Hustle in Brooklyn, was completed while he was an undergraduate at Morehouse College. After receiving his BA, he enrolled in New York University's Tisch School of the Arts, where he received an MFA in film production. Lee's first feature film was the comedy She's Gotta Have It, 1986. His next films included the 1988 movie, School Days, followed by his 1989 hit, Do the Right Thing, in the 1990 movie, Mo Better Blues, all of which all received critical acclaim. Lee is known to use his movies to take a critical look at race relations, political issues, and urban crime and violence.